The Cubs win. 6-4 is your final. They avoid the sweep and pick up the last game of the series, and we're here to talk about it all on Cubs Postgame Live, presented by Yingling Flight, the next generation of light beer. And when you need defense, who are you going to call? Dansby Swanson. You think that this is a hit? Not in this case, and Jacob Webb is loving it. That is how the Cubs secured that 6-4 W. And I don't know what Nico's saying, but it's got to be something about like, hey, man, you caught that? That's awesome. Those two always making all the plays. And Clark, yeah, he's flying the flag. So it's Elise Menaker and Lance Brozdowski in here with you. And Lance, look, you go into after a big win earlier in the week. They get beat a couple of times, and it felt like in the division you kind of needed this one. So it was a nice win for the Cubs.
Yeah, this was big. I mean, if you're talking about potentially getting swept by the Cardinals for a
Never
July 4th
fun.
weekend,
Nope, don't want to talk about it.
This would have been a pretty miserable
Yeah.
postgame, but it's a good swing in the right direction. Huge shout out to Jacob Webb for the 2-inning save. I mean, with the bullpen being kind of as taxed in as reinforcements bases, they seem to be pulling in names from the waiver and elsewhere. You saw Drew Pomerantz today, old friends back. It's huge for Webb to be able to go out there and get a 2-inning save.
Yes.
He did that earlier this year against Arizona. For him to do it again in a tight game versus your division rival is huge.
Yeah, and second save since Palencia has been on the IL. So your point with all the shaking and grooving with the injuries to this staff, Webb has certainly stepped up when needed. The offense stepping up today, and so specifically, you look at that 6th inning, and that's going to take us to our Pella Letzi, who made life brighter today with Pella windows and doors. And Dansby Swanson, hey, like we see this, Lance, where sometimes it's just about putting the ball in play, and the defense, we've seen a lot recently, just can't come up with the plays.
It's huge, yeah. I mean, this is a bit surprising, too. The Cardinals' defense grades out really well. I was also surprised to see that they have the highest fielding run value on double plays specifically. So that Dansby ball that was not converted into a double play is definitely an odd one, but hey, you take it as it comes. Like, you get a good defensive team making blunders, you got to take advantage, you got to win, and the Cubs did that today.
But more than anything, it's also feeling like this isn't really coincidence when we see it time and time again. Like, probably the more extreme case was against the Mets, right, when we see all of those errors. But, you know, the pressure that this offense can put on teams, and that's why when they don't get on base, they don't have the hits in those big situations, it can be frustrating because we see that if you can just make things happen, like you can make a big inning out of it.
Yeah, I mean, you've heard the counsel say this a bunch, I'm sure. I mean, he talks about how runners in scoring position just put the ball in play. It's not necessarily about slugging, it's about not striking out. When you put the ball in play, you allow the opportunity for luck to happen. The Cubs have been good doing that over the last couple weeks. That May swoon was very much driven by low batting average with runners in scoring position. For the most part, that's reverted the right around league average. And when you do things like you saw today, when you have men in spots where you need to score them, you put it in play, good things happen.
Yeah, Craig Counsell has always said just put the pressure on offenses, make them, or defenses, make them make plays. But speaking of defense pitching in particular, Javier Assad stepping up, you know, we can say it, that's really the theme of this year. I mean, him and the staff. And so, you know, you need a win and you need a good quality start, or just, you know, maybe not in the definition, but someone to go out there and prevent runs. He can be your guy.
Yeah, bases loaded. This is not new for Javier Assad. Usually with men on, he does a great job of getting out of jams. This second inning, he lapsed in command. You heard Taylor McGregor talk to Craig Counsell in the game, and he said that. You could tell he was pulling balls, especially to his glove side off the plate. But in that inning, I mean, we've seen this ad nauseum with him. There's men on, there's one out. He somehow figures out a way to get 2 outs. The end of the day, the line is what you're seeing on your screen right now. It's basically 0 runs, despite the fact you're like, I feel like there was a lot of ball in play and a lot of reliance on the defense, which, hey, take advantage of it. It is the best unit in baseball, so why not put the ball on the ground, which he does really well. I didn't think some of the glove side sinkers to righties, glove side sinkers to lefties that he loves kind of feeding called strikes into the zone were as sharp as they have been in prior starts. But again, the line is strong. He kept him in the game, and Counsell pulled the right cards from a bullpen standpoint. You
know, something I've never asked you, but when you mentioned how the ball is in play and ideally on the ground for this staff, but in Assad today, you know, how does that play with analytics? Because I'm always thinking about it, it keeps the defense engaged. So guys are ready, and that's a positive for me. Now, strikeouts, I'm sure, and the spin, and that's always nice. But, you know, what do you see from a guy like Assad when that's the case?
It's one of those things, like we're just talking about how the offense, you put the ball in play, you allow things to happen. If you think of it from the pitching standpoint, it's kind of like a negative, right?
Right.
You're taking the things out of the pitcher's control. That's why analytics a lot of the time drive a lot of value through purely strikeouts, not allowing homers, not walking batters, which Assad does 2 of 3 there. He doesn't allow a ton of home runs. He doesn't walk guys, but he doesn't strike out anybody. I think the way that you counteract that as a unit, as the Cubs have done over the last couple of years, and you've seen this with their acquisitions as well. David Peterson's a guy who limits barrels, puts the ball on the ground. A ton of their acquisitions revolve around this concept of, hey, we understand the analytics push you towards not really loving ball and play, but we're confident based on who we've paid on the dirt and Pete in center field that when you do that, you will have better results in Chicago than you will with 29 other ball clubs. And I think that's a reasonable bet to make. And for the most part, too, the pitchers that end up in this Assad category of barrel limiting are a bit more efficient from like a dollar per WAR standpoint, which is getting very nerdy, but they're more efficient. Strikeouts cost money, velocity costs money. So if you're trying to build a staff out and go, you're going to need anywhere between 15 and 20 names. It's not just the 12 or 13 guys on the actual roster. It's hard to do that. It's hard to have every single one of those guys be velo-driven.
Yeah, and then that's all really interesting, and how, I think the freedom with which these pitchers can pitch with, they say it time and time again because the defense behind them. Same thing goes for whether you're starting or, coming out of the bullpen, that you have the defense behind you, and then Jacob Webb stepping up. So that's going to be relief when you need it, presented by More Tax Law Group, Chicago's closer for complex tax controversy issues. So you had mentioned 2 innings for the save here for Webb, and look, this is someone who's giving you the high leverage stuff, and he's up for the task.
He's been great. The strikeout rate's up year over year. Four-seam fastball, specifically to right-handed hitters, is generating a lot more miss. It's a little weird. His season's been a little odd. The strikeouts are up, the walks are up, barrels are kind of around the same that he's been. But right now, at this moment in time, he's the best reliever in this bullpen. This is the kind of order that you go with from Craig Counsell pulling the cards after Assad comes out of the game. Sure, maybe there's some opportunity to leave Assad in versus the 9-hitter, not let Rolison kind of do an up-down. But, Rolison seems very, very comfortable with up-downs. He's done it as an opener a couple times. So I think that Counsell has the trust in Rolison to get those guys out. Ferguson kind of left a sweeper up in the zone to Jordan Walker. That was the big home run in this game that tied things up. That's kind of the one blip. But, again, Counsell's working with who he has. You probably can't overextend Assad. So you need these 4 or so, maybe you would have gone to 5 names to get you through this game, and he did a great job.
And old friend Drew Pomeranz.
Old friend, he's back.
As well. And with all of that, the Cubs, they win 6-4.